Every summer, my mother forced me to spend time with my cousins. Vanessa, Brielle, and Caden, the wealthy, spoiled children of my mom's sister. The moment I stepped into their massive brick house, the insults began. "Look, the charity case is here," Vanessa smirked when I walked in with my thrift store suitcase. "Try not to touch anything," Brielle added. "Mom says poor kids break stuff." Caden once whispered loudly, "Does her house even have hot water?" They laughed like it was comedy night. Their mother, my aunt, never corrected them. Instead, she'd say things like, "Well, Amelia, maybe if your mother had married better, you wouldn't struggle so much." I swallowed embarrassment year after year. But I never showed anger. I observed. My mother always told me, "Let them talk. One day, life will give you your turn." I didn't know how right she was. When I was 17, my mother suddenly passed away from a heart condition she had kept hidden. I was devastated, and alone. But the worst part? My aunt refused to help. "We already have too many responsibilities," she said. "We can't afford to take in a charity case again." I wasn't surprised. But it hardened something inside me. So, with nothing but a small scholarship and pure determination, I left South Carolina and moved to Austin, Texas, to study computer engineering. I worked late nights at diners, slept 4 hours a night, and coded until my fingers cramped. For years, I had one dream: to become wealthy enough that no one could ever put me down again. And I did. And years later, I became the founder of TechHalo, a cybersecurity tech startup that skyrocketed after I developed a software tool used by small businesses and hospitals across the country. By 32, I was a multimillionaire. By 33, TechHalo expanded to 6 branches. By 34, I bought a mansion bigger than the one my cousins used to mock me from. I was invited to Forbes panels, tech conferences, and award galas. Life was better than I ever imagined. But I wasn't the same timid girl who accepted humiliation. I remembered every insult, every laugh, every sneer. And I stored it all in the back of my mind, waiting. One day, I received a message from an old high school friend. "Hey Amelia, did you hear? Your aunt's family lost everything." Then came the details. My uncle's real estate business crashed. They were drowning in debt. The banks took the cars. The mansion went into foreclosure. My cousins had no jobs, they'd lived off their parents' money their entire lives. Suddenly the perfect family was homeless and desperate. I won't lie. I felt nothing at first. Until another message arrived. This one from Vanessa, the oldest cousin. "Hey Amelia, it's been a long time. I heard you run a tech company. Do you have any job openings? We really need help right now." I stared at the message for a long, silent minute. Then I smiled. I replied politely. "Hi Vanessa. Yes, I do have job openings. Why don't you and your siblings come in for an interview?" She responded within seconds, overly cheerful, as if we were lifelong friends. My cousins arrived at my Austin headquarters that Friday, wearing cheap business clothes that clearly weren't their style. The moment they stepped into the lobby and saw my name etched in gold on the glass wall. Amelia Carter, founder and CEO, TechHalo. Brielle gasped. Caden turned pale. Vanessa's fake smile froze. I welcomed them warmly. "Thank you all for coming," I said, shaking their hands like strangers. They still didn't know what was coming. I took them to the large conference room where my executive assistant had already prepared folders. They sat nervously as I began. "So," I said, flipping through Vanessa's resume, "you have no college degree, no work experience, and your last 10 years consist of travel, shopping, and brand ambassador gigs?" She swallowed hard. I can learn quickly." I turned to Brielle. "Your resume lists fashion influencer as your primary occupation, but the account seems to have been deleted?" She reddened. We got hacked." And you, Caden, I said, you wrote crypto investor, but you have no gains logged, only losses? He looked down. Crypto crashed. I closed the folder slowly and looked at all three. You know, I said softly, this reminds me of something. They looked up. When we were kids, I continued, you used to call me the charity case. Their faces drained of color. But today, I said, leaning forward, you are sitting in my office, begging for jobs from the girl you once mocked for being poor. Silence filled the room. Vanessa started crying quietly. We were kids, we were stupid. Amelia, please, we're desperate. I stood up and walked around the table. You're right, I said calmly. You were stupid. But I'm not like you. I don't enjoy watching people fall. Their eyes lit up. Too soon. So I'll give you jobs. They sighed in relief. As janitors. The relief vanished. What? Caden shot up. We can't. This is humiliating. Brielle complained. We're family. Vanessa pleaded. I smiled coldly. So I didn't stop you, did it? They accepted the jobs. They had no choice. For months, my once arrogant cousins mopped floors, took out trash, cleaned bathrooms, and restocked supplies at the company belonging to the girl they used to bully. Whenever they passed by my executive office, they kept their heads down. But here's the twist. I didn't do it out of cruelty. I did it to teach them humility. After 6 months of consistent work, I promoted them. Vanessa to HR assistant. Brielle to marketing intern. Caden to logistics support. Their salaries increased. Their confidence grew. And surprisingly, they changed. One afternoon, Vanessa approached me with tears in her eyes. Amelia. I've never said it before, but I'm truly sorry for everything we did. You didn't deserve it. Brielle hugged me and whispered, thank you for not abandoning us. Even Caden muttered, you saved us, even when we didn't deserve it. I finally felt the last piece of bitterness dissolved. Years later, my cousins became loyal employees and better human beings. My aunt? She once tried contacting me, demanding I help her too. I didn't even reply. I help those who grow. Not those who poison. And in the end, my cousins learned a lesson they never forgot. The girl they mocked for being poor became the woman who signed their paychecks. And that was the sweetest, most poetic revenge life could ever offer.